What's up guys, welcome back to On the Brick. Today I have for you another custom LEGO set, this time the Empire over Jedha from Onecase. This set is massive, contains over 5,098 pieces, is about 20 inches long, about 13 inches wide, and about the same height at 13 or 14 inches, and that's 50 by 32 by 33 centimeters. And what they don't tell you is that this set is very, very heavy. But it also looks really good. As you can see, the landscape of Jedha, the walls of the city itself, and the Star Destroyer all look wonderful. If we come in and get a closer look at the landscape of Jedha, you can see that it's made up of mainly plates. In fact, with the rare exception of pieces like right here, this is all plates. Thousands of them making up the bottom part of this build. Moving up, you do see one of the mini Zeta class shuttles. This is like the one that the Rogue One team ends up stealing in the movie. It's transporting stuff to the Star Destroyer above, and behind it, of course, is the massive wall of Jedha City. This wall does wrap around the entire city. It is very intricately built, and it's made up of mainly tan and dark tan pieces. If we get a peek here in under the Star Destroyer, you do see more of those Zeta class shuttles, and a good look at how this landscape was made. Now, when designing this set, Onecase did look at a lot of stills from the visual dictionary and from the movie to try to recreate this as accurately as possible. As you can see, this part is made up of many, just like one by one pieces and tiles and these hinge pieces, a lot of intricate builds like that, but it is accurate to the movie, including with the temple at the top here that serves as a support for the massive Star Destroyer sitting on top. And this thing looks really good. Unfortunately for this set, that's where the compliments have to stop, because despite however awesome it looks, everything else kind of falls flat. It seems like all the effort went into making sure it looked good, and minimal effort went into how the build process was, or the stability of a lot of this set. The biggest time dump of this set for me was easily the base. Like I said, it's thousands of plates just being stacked right on top of each other, a lot of them with the same or similar colors. And as the whole thing is finished, it's pretty obvious that, like, yes, it's incredibly sturdy because of that, but the piece count really could have been reduced down if Onecase had gone back through, took out a bunch of the plates that weren't needed and replaced them with bricks to help with both the stability and, again, just bringing down the piece count. And on top of that, it was just pretty boring having to do the same thing over and over and over again. A lot of the times, it wasn't like the steps were having you do like 10 or 15 pieces. Many steps had about 50 pieces in it that would just ask you to go around and put plates around the entire thing before moving on. And when you do move on, the next thing you build is actually the city on top. And like I pointed out, those are very, very tiny pieces, and it looks wonderful, but it is a little tiring to try to figure out how and where to put those in there, mainly because of how the instructions are shown, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. After you finish the top of the city, you go around and do the walls, which, again, it's made up of a bunch of individual sections. These all are just individual sections that you connect together. However, the entirety of the wall is only connected to one point on the actual structure itself, which, when you're connecting the last two segments of the wall together, is a little hard, as on one hand, you need to put enough pressure to actually connect them. On the other hand, if you put too much pressure, you're going to break what you just built. But by far, the worst offender is the Star Destroyer on top. This thing is incredibly unstable. It has so many problems with it that it's not even funny. The actual structure is really fragile, and if we take a closer look, you see these turntable pieces all along here lining up the edge of the Star Destroyer, and that's actually how most of these panels are connected. And if you don't know, those pieces aren't meant to be connecting other ones together. They don't really have the power for that. But beyond that, the panels are just designed very weakly anyway because of the size of this set. And putting them actually onto the structure was rather difficult, as again it had the same problem as the walls beneath it, in that too much pressure broke it and not enough pressure didn't connect it. I also ran into the problem where, because you put the bridge on first, I had trouble fitting the panels on, both because I couldn't see where they were supposed to go, and because the bridge was in the way. I don't know if I did something wrong there, but I had to do a lot of fidgeting to be able to make it work. Speaking of the bridge, you might notice that there's a little gap here on the right side, and to put it simply, that's because the pieces just kept falling out. This bridge is one of the most unstable parts of an already incredibly unstable Star Destroyer. It's built very intricately, it does look good like the rest of it, but it simply just does not hold together. And you might be able to see it, but I did unfortunately have to glue a lot of this together just to keep it there, just to make sure it actually stayed together. And not just the bridge, the entire Star Destroyer. A lot of these panels are glued together just so they wouldn't fall apart. Now, what frustrates me is that Onecase is charging $30 for these instructions. Now, it is a 5,098 piece set. That is a huge set, so $30 for it doesn't sound that bad. But here's the problem. When you go to buy the instructions for this set, one of the things it says is that it is a 497 page high quality instructions. And if you look at the pictures that he provides, you would get that impression that it is. Because the pictures that he provides are some of these examples of where it is high quality, where he doesn't have the problems. But if you look at the pictures that I have on screen now, you can see that calling these high quality instructions is just flat out wrong. There are times where it is difficult to see where to put a piece. There is a time where it is impossible to see where to put a piece. The colors are incredibly off as well. In fact, these light tan pieces all show up as white in the instructions, and I thought that I was missing a ton of pieces because of that. It was only by looking at the end of the instructions to see the piece count that I realized no, I wasn't missing pieces, it's just that the colors of the instructions are horrible. So to be charging $30 for that and claiming that they're high quality is just wrong. There are a lot of other people out there who do provide high quality instructions. For instance, Rich Boy Jay's instructions are almost exactly like Legos. They are some of the most professional that I've seen. Brick Vault's instructions are up there as well. They do tend to be a little more hit or miss, but most of the time they work very well. But what's provided with this set is not at that same level. The instructions for this set are not worth $30, and he should not be charging $30 for them. Especially when you notice things like this bottom panel is just hanging loose, and there's not really an easy way to fix that. Now, does that mean that Onecase is a fraud and all his stuff is bad? Well, no. This set is bad. This is a really bad set. It looks amazing. 10 out of 10 out of the look. Everything else about it is bad. Maybe someone could go through, add more bricks on the bottom, get rid of some of the plates. Maybe they could add a few more connection points to the wall, or maybe just make the instructions a little easier. Again, that was one of the biggest problems with making the city, is that the entire thing was from one viewpoint. So you would start in the back here and make your way all the way across from the same viewpoint, oftentimes making it almost impossible to even see what you were supposed to put somewhere. But the problem is I don't know how to fix the Star Destroyer. I think the size just makes it hard for it to actually be stable. I mean, Onecase was going for a sleek, aesthetic, accurate look. You can see that there's like the guns there on the side, there's the shield generators on top of the bridge there. It does look like a Star Destroyer. It's very accurate. It looks good. It's just incredibly unstable. And Onecase actually sells a 3-pack of Star Destroyers, being a Venator, this, and a First Order Star Destroyer for $30 as well. And the issue I have is, having built this, despite how amazing those sets look, I'm not willing to spend the $30 on that. But on the other side of things, if you've seen his Monarch or his Executor, I've heard nothing but good things about those sets, and those I probably will be picking up soon, because those are actually worth it. But if you don't care so much about the problems that I've been saying, like if you think you won't mind spending 10 hours just putting plates on top of plates, if you think the wall is fine, if you don't mind the instructions being a little hard to look at, this set is kind of worth it just for the final product. Because when it comes to the collection that I have, this stands out and it looks really good. I just wish that it was a little better. For the $30 that I spent on the instructions, and let's not even talk about the piece count, I just wish it was a little better. I wish it was a little more stable. I wish that the high quality instructions were actually high quality. And I know that for some people $30 isn't a lot of money, but when you consider that this is something that was done once and he literally just has to send out the PDF every time, it's a lot of money. But at the end of the day, I am happy to have this set. I'm happy to have it on display. And like I said, I'm going to be looking at getting his Monarch and his Executor hopefully soon. I'm going to be doing some Clone Wars sets before that, and then we'll go into those giant Star Destroyers. Go ahead and tell me what you think about this set down below. Do you personally own it? Did you have some of the same problems that I had? And if you don't, are you interested in it at all? Like I said, the link to the instructions is always going to be down below and up in the right hand corner as well. Because despite me thinking that the $30 price tag is way too much for this set, it is always a good idea to support the MOC creators. If you like what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button down below. Subscribe if you want to see more, hit that bell if you want to know anytime that I upload, and I'll see you next time.